Hello guys, and welcome to Till Vacuum Do Us Part. Today's video is all about pantry organization. This is still a small pantry, but in my last home I didn't have one at all, so it just feels like a dream pantry to me. I forgot how much I missed it, so I want to thank Cricut for sponsoring today's video, but let's go ahead and jump straight into this video and see what we can do. Okay, I'm gonna first start by showing you what we have to work with. This is what it looked like before we moved in. It was like all the workers were just keeping all the extra supplies in there. And then once we did move in, all of that stuff was still in there. Plus I had packed a few boxes that said pantry, so my mother-in-law had put them in there. So I definitely need to just clear out this space here in a little bit and get it nice and empty. But I just wanted to show you kind of all the boxes I was working with. I'm gonna try to keep this pantry just food related. I may have like some extra paper towels and stuff at the top, but for the most part I just want it to be all food since it's not like a super large pantry. If it was big, I definitely keep like cake stands and different things like that in there, but I'm not thinking it's gonna hold that much, and my kitchen held it just fine. So I always like to see everything I'm working with. So when I'm about to decorate a space or organize it, I'm gonna pull everything out so I can visually see everything that has to go into that space. So as you can see in some of these clips, I already had my food in some organizers from my last house. I just kept all of my food up in a pantry and in my island. I do have a whole video on how to have a pantry when you don't have one, and it was in my old house, so definitely check that out if you're here and don't have a pantry. And then a lot of these organizers I've been buying. So we knew we were about to move. I knew the space I had. My thought is just to overbuy a little bit, and then if I have to return it, I will when I'm finished, but you hate to get like knee deep in a project and have to drive and pick up more, or at least it is for my case because we live outside of town, so it's not worth the drive. So definitely just buy a ton of stuff, keep the receipt, and once you organize, you can always take back what you don't use. I do want to thank Cricut for sponsoring this part of today's video. They are so excited. They just created the Joy app, which goes with the Cricut Joy, which is just a small but mighty cutting machine. It can cut up to 20-foot rolls for bigger projects. It's great for like labels and making cards and other crafts. It's just the perfect little size and has a great carrying case, so if you need to make it portable and take it with you. Right now the app is currently only available for iOS devices, but it was so easy to use and set up. I'm going to be labeling my entire house, so you're definitely going to be seeing me use this machine in my pantry, because is it really a pantry organizational video if I don't use labels? But here's some up close shots of it. It is such a good size and so sweet to look at. I don't know, I kept seeing it and just going like, oh, It's just so perfect. But I wanted to show you real quickly of what the app looks like. So you just download it on your phone and it's so easy to set up. You just hit start and then start making, and it's gonna just give you some options to choose from. What's so nice when you're doing something like this, you can do it so many different ways. So I used the cutting part on this where I cut out the words, and you're gonna see that here in a moment. But it also comes with markers where if you want it to look handwritten, so maybe you don't have the best handwriting, I'm that way. I would never write on my labels because they just don't look pretty. You could just pick out a pretty font and it would look handwritten. So many different options. This is even great for card making and all different projects, but it was seriously so easy to use. So once you have all your measurements put in and the font you want and all the labels created, it will show you an example so you can see exactly what it looks like before it prints. It's like a little print preview, which I think is super helpful. So if you don't like the way it looks, if you want to choose a different font, you didn't cut all of these labels and then it not work well. The other thing I liked about it is I can make all my labels at once. So I didn't have to just create one label and then print it and then go create another label and print it. I could create all the labels I needed on one little tab and then hit print, and it's going to print all of them at the same time, which I feel like is just a time saver, and all of us need as much time saved as we possibly can. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pull off the paper off the back and then just stick it onto anything that you're labeling. So this would be cute if you're wrapping gifts and you want cute little gift tags, if you're labeling storage bins, if you're making really cute cards. There is so many endless options you can do with this. So definitely click on that link down below in my description box and check them out. I promise you will not be disappointed. This is even a perfect time to grab one. Just with all the presents we're wrapping, you can definitely just level up your game. But thanks again to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. I seriously love this, and definitely stay until the end of today's video so you can see how it all turned out.
I just wanna hold you. I just wanna look into your eyes and tell you that I want you. You know you make me feel so alive. Can't stop thinking about you day and night. Love it when you kiss me, love it when we touch.
Now that I have all those bins labeled, I'm going to go ahead and start opening up all the new bins I bought. As you can see here, they were stuck together. I had the hardest time pulling them apart. But I wanted to go ahead and get these prepped and laid out because I want to start putting the food in them before I put it in my pantry. So you can decide what's going to work easier for you. You can either put all the bins in the pantry so you know exactly what the layout's going to be, or like me, I'm going to just go ahead and start putting everything into the organizers, and then I'll find a system that works in there. Definitely just you do you and what works best. But I decided once I got that done, I'm going to go ahead and clear out this pantry. You can tell I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth. This was 2 days after we moved in, and I had gotten a lot of our rooms finished, but I was wanting to get our food out just to make it easier for eating. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this out so we can just keep moving forward.
Thinking about you day and night. I love it when you kiss me, love it when we touch. Every time I'm down here, you make me smile. You're the solution. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are the solution. You are the solution. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are the solution. You are the solution.
I'm glad I remembered to clean out my pantry before I started organizing all my food into the new bins, because I forgot I had quite a few boxes in there of things that are going to be going back in. So it was like canned food and spices and stuff like that. So I'm glad I got it all cleaned out. I am going to go ahead and just clean this out real quickly and then vacuum it just to make sure it's clean and nice. The whole house did get cleaned before we moved in, but I don't think this room was cleaned because, like I said, they had all their just overflow in there of extra hardware and paints and tiles and all that. So I just wanted to wipe it out real quickly before I started to organize it.
You are the solution. You are the solution. You
It can be very daunting or overwhelming when you're trying to narrow down a lot of items into particular bins. So the best thing you can do is start putting like items together. So what would you grab often together? So as I started to put all this stuff, I realized it was a baking bin. So I'm going to label this one baking. And then I end up with a cooking one that was a lot of oils and different stuff like that. I also ended up with a spice bin. So definitely just start grouping those like things together and figure out how you can make it, you know, have a purpose. So when you're looking for something, you know exactly where to look. You definitely don't want it scattered throughout your entire pantry, or every time you go to cook, it's going to be so hard to find what you need.
I'm gonna tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without.
I also wanted to let you guys know you don't have to spend an arm and a leg for containers. I just ran up to Ross and I got most of these for like $2.99 or less. So it's one of those you have to keep checking in. Like, it took me a few visits to get all the ones I've needed, and I actually need one more, so the next time I run in there I'll pick it up. But I know a lot of you guys have container stores and those are amazing. I don't even have one near me if I wanted it, but definitely just check out like Walmart and Ross and Home Goods first. Even Target can be pricey, so I would suggest going there last if you're trying to stay within a budget, but definitely always go to Ross first. You can find the best deals there.
Wondering who is she to me. I'm gonna tell you right now, 'cause she's the one I'm thinking of. Hey, the only one I'm thinking of. Hey, she's everything I'm dreaming of. Hey, the one that I can live without.
Another little reminder, when you're organizing, there's a lot of trial and error. So sometimes you're going to get a whole bin together and then realize it doesn't work, or you need that basket for something else, or that container. Definitely don't start an organizing project. I don't care what part of your house it's in, if you don't have just a few hours, because it's not something you want to be super rushed on. You don't need to spend a whole day organizing, but you definitely need more than like 20 or 30 minutes to get it right. So just definitely make sure you have your schedule open, just so you can make sure and get it right the first time, and just really concentrate and focus on what you're doing, and the items are going to be easy to find. I will say, now that we have this pantry and food's kind of easier to get to and easier to see, we are cooking so much more than we did in the old house. It's like we're enjoying it even more, and we like going to the pantry. Now, I'm not promising that's going to last forever, but right now it really has made a huge difference. Now, in my personal opinion, this is the best part of organizing. So I'm finally getting to start putting everything in its home in the pantry. I've got all the food out, I've got it all organized, I've got it all labeled, and now I just need to start placing it and making it look pretty in the pantry. I was so relieved when it made it to this point. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love displaying items, and I just think it's so fun to create a space and just make it so welcoming and pretty. So anytime you open up a door or a cabinet in my home, I want it to make me happy. I don't want to open something and hurry and want to close it as quick as I can because it's messy or dirty or cluttered. I want to open it up and just kind of my eyes light up, and so that's my goal when I'm working on my kitchen cabinets or any closets or my pantry, and I feel like we nailed it in this one. I'm super happy. I haven't even had the itch to switch yet in this pantry. Everything is where I put it in this video, so I know I did something right. I'm sure it'll change at some point, but I am happy with the layout right now. So definitely don't click off yet. We still have a little bit longer, and then you can see the final reveal at the very end of today's video.
Let's live life without regrets. Girl, curfew, cause all that is stuck in my head. It's me and you, both speed and my heart is racing, but I'm not sure I wanna pace it, cause it only does this with you. Our bodies meet, I can feel the tension, move us into the next dimension. Let's just let our bodies be true. We make out for the thrill of it, mess around for the thrill of it. Don't stop now, never let this end.
So at this point, I started to get really nervous that not everything was gonna fit in there. I felt like the pantry was filling up quickly and I still had a lot of items left on my countertops, but we did make it work, which I was so relieved, but I was getting a little concerned.
We make out for the thrill of it, mess around for the thrill of it. Don't stop now, never let this end.
Another tip when you're creating a pantry space is have a bins for things you really like. Like Chase has a popcorn bin right there. I don't know if you can see it. I have a spaghetti bin. We have spaghetti pretty much every single week. I love it. I love it for leftovers. And then I can have a bin and see exactly what I have. I can see if I have noodles, if I have sauce, if I need to buy more. I even did like a pasta bin because I love pasta. So definitely just create those tailored to you. And then when you need to grocery shop, you can kind of remember in your head if those bins were empty or not.
Guess I'm lost in the fun park now. Like a merry-go-round, drove a spiral going down, yeah. I've been racing you all through town. There's no limit to your speed, never ever time to beat, no. We just fired away without a second to ensure what we signed up for.
So I think these little canned food stands are really cool because each row gets a little bit taller, so you're not losing canned goods, or you're not ordering more green beans if you already have a ton of them, because you can actually see what you have. So if you have the space for something like this, plus I feel like it creates extra space because it's rising up. Definitely check these out. They have them at Ross, they have them on Amazon. I'll have them in my store. That's where I ordered these too. And I feel like it's just perfect. So once again, it's that visual. You can see what you have.
You've been up underneath my skin. No one's ever gonna win, so we might as well get in now. Still the fights always leave a thrill. I can imagine how I will. You go on, I know the drill now. I've been getting high from this drug for longer than I know. Now it's time to go. I'm not letting you push me around, so should have let you know.
I did end up putting all of my extra paper towels at the top of it. I feel like it's just very pleasing to the eye, and I need those out in my kitchen, and there just wasn't a better spot for them. Plus, I love that they're like white and clean. I kind of like the look that it adds. I used to have these setting out my laundry room at my last house just because I like the cleanness to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to the top. Now, if I ever needed more storage, I could put those like in a big bin on the floor, but right now I'm trying to keep that clear, and then if I ever buy a ton of food and need the space up top, or if I need to add baskets to the bottom, I can do that so I still have room to grow.
Try to get up, you're dragging me down. Better back off, I'll turn it around.
Here is the final reveal, and I am so happy with how it turned out. You guys always ask me about how long this stuff takes. It did take 2 or 3 hours, but I did have a lot of workers in the house where I had to keep starting and stopping, so it did take a little bit longer, but I'm so happy with the final product. Thank you so much for making it to the end of today's video. It really does help me out. If you enjoyed this, definitely hit the like button and share it with somebody you know. If there's somebody that needs some organization or would enjoy watching this or help motivate them, definitely share it because it helps me as well. And don't forget to check out the Cricut Joy. I'm going to leave the link down below in my description box, so be sure and click on that. And thanks again to Cricut for sponsoring today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!